Now, we want to review the work we've done on inequalities before. Now, we've done some of this last year, but we really want to make sure we are understanding inequalities, and specifically to start off with linear inequalities. Later on in the term, we're going to look at ones that are not linear inequalities. There might be other types of inequalities, like quadratic inequalities, a little bit different. But hopefully remember these, all our signs from year 7, greater than or equal to, less than and less than or equal to, and remember what they mean. So 3 is less than 4, 8 is less than 2. So, and what we want to do is be able to solve equations or inequations with those signs in there, and in certain forms. Now, all those are going to be linear equations. So we're able to muck around with those and be able to solve them as we solved normal linear equations, but with the idea of inequalities there. Now, and there's really only one rule we've got to remember. So, as we said before, like equations, solve it. So you get y is equal to, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, or less than a particular number. So you have a relationship with a number. So we've got to collect it. And we do pretty much the same as we would normally do to solve an inequality. So we've been solving quadratic. So solving linear inequalities, I think it's getting pretty easy for most of you now. So you look at those ones and don't have too many problems. Really the only case is sometimes when you have some fractions. So remember what you need to do with fractions to get rid of that. Now, what we've got to be careful about, and this is the only rule that's different, is when we multiply divide by a negative number. Now, remember, we've proved this in class before. 2 less than 5 is true. But if we multiply both sides by -1, then we get -2 and -5. Now, we've done the same thing to both sides, but this statement's not true because -2 is greater than -5. So for it to be true, what we've got to do is change it to -2 greater than -5. So when we multiply by the negative, and same goes for dividing by a negative, it changes the sign, so we've got to change the sign as well. So we have to just turn the sign around. So we're solving this equation, minus x on 2, so we multiply by 2, so it gets rid of our fraction. We've got minus x is greater than 10, which means we've got to get the negative across the other side. So because we multiply by -1, we change the sign. So notice the sign changed from greater than to less than, so x is less than -10. Same thing here, we've solved our equation, we've taken our 5's across and done our subtraction. And then we've got -3x less than 12, divide by -3, and it gives us x plus or minus 4. So plus or minus, greater than or equal to -4. So you see this change in the sign happening when we do that. So this time we can see more examples. Again, just solving through and doing our equations as normal, except when we get to the case where we divide or multiply by a negative number. So even if the variable's on both sides, solve it like you would have done an equation. That one is not really divided. We don't divide or multiply by a negative, so it's not a problem. This one we're dividing by the by -2 at the end, so we change the sign. So that's the only rule we have to remember. Otherwise, treat them as an equation so they don't change. When we've got the brackets there as well, the same. Expand your brackets, collect terms, go from Q. So that should be Q, not X. So try not to do that as well, although it's not that big a deal, but we shouldn't change it to a different variable half the way through. Again, expanding both sides and then collecting our terms on one side and dividing by the -1 or multiplying by -1 doesn't really, it does the same job in that case, but we change our signs there. With fractions, as we've said before, multiply by the lowest common denominator of all of them. So it's the lowest common denominator is 5 here, so multiply everything by 5. Solve our equation. Our inequality doesn't change because we're not multiplying by a negative. This one we multiply through by 12 because that's the lowest common denominator. So solving those fraction equations like we've done before, collect our terms, we're dividing by a negative, so our sign changes. So we keep looking to do that. Now, what about when we're graphing? Hopefully remember this, and it's only a review. So x greater than 2, when we graph it on the number line, we have x is equal, we have the 2, but it's got a circle there. So why is it a circle? Because it's only less than, it's only greater than, it's not equal to. If it's equal to, then we put the closed circle, so we fill it in. So there's the difference. Is that if it's an open circle, only means it's not equal to 2. It's just every number greater than 2. So right up to 2, but not including 2. This one will be right up to 2, but including 2. So that's how these ones look. So x is less than -1, open circle, and we're going to the left of -1. Greater than or equal to -1, closed circle, and we go to the left. Greater than -4, open circle, -4, go to the right. Less than 5, open circle, go to the left. X is greater than -2 but less than 4, so it means it's between -2 and 4 there. So that's what that one means. So open circle on both, because it's only open because it's not equal to. Because it's equal to on both those, then we're going to close that circle, and it's going to be between it. Again, you can see here we're open circle on 1 because it's only equal to. It's not equal to -3, but it's equal to 4, so it's going to be closed circle there. And it's equal to 0, but less than 5, so open circle and between it. And this time, if it's less than -3, we're going to open circle at -3 and going that way. But if it's greater than or equal to 0, well, it's equal to 0, but greater than, so we go in either direction. These ones were between. These ones go either direction. X is less than or equal to 0, or greater than or equal to 4. So you can see where our inequalities are going to go, and depends on whether it's equal to or less than or equal to, where we open a circle or we keep it closed, and what direction we have to go in. So read them carefully, and as we've done lots of them before, but it should we should be really careful with them to make sure we are communicating them correctly.